Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're gonna do Katsudon using this very beautiful and juicy Japanese pork. So in order to make a really nice Katsudon, we need to make Tonkatsu, which is basically breaded pork loin. This kind of pork loin is not very easy to get at the local wet market because the Chinese don't cut the pork this way. But for Katsudon, it's very important, or for Tonkatsu, it's very important for you to have that piece of fat because it's that juicy bit. And this bit is the bit that everybody goes for if you know how to eat Katsudon because that's juicy and yummy. You can see that this Japanese pork is a very good quality. It's got nice marbling. You can see all those little streaks of fat in the meat. This you don't get to see in the pork that you get locally. And the Japanese like to breed their pork so that it is nice and juicy, and the fat is very sweet and doesn't have any porky odor. So that's a good reason why you should buy Japanese pork when you're making this dish. We got to cut the fat like this so that it doesn't curl up when you fry it. Just use a meat tenderizer to just flatten it out a little bit. If you don't have a meat tenderizer, not to worry. You can always use the tip of a knife also. Just make a few stabs into the meat. We'll put some salt and pepper, both sides, and pepper. Keep the seasoning very minimum because we want to just be able to taste the natural umami of the pork. To do the breading, what we need is corn flour, then we need some eggs. You need to get hold of some Japanese breadcrumbs. Now this is panko. As you can see, it's not the normal European breadcrumbs. These are Japanese breadcrumbs, and you can see that it's a little bit like shards. The pork, you coat it with the corn flour. You shake off the excess. Okay, so the pork is wet, corn flour is dry. So wet, dry. Now this is dry, goes into the egg, which is wet, and then after that goes back into the dry. Give it a gentle press. So once your pork is breaded, we are going to deep fry it. So we need the oil to be around 170 degrees. Alright, shake off all the excess breadcrumbs and then put in the oil gently away from you like this. You should see lots of nice little bubbles forming. Now, it will take about 3 minutes to cook, or until the outside is brown, and then it's ready. Okay, you know your pork is done when it starts to float up like this. And then the crust is nice and golden like that. That's beautiful, right? Okay, so just drain off all the excess oil and leave it aside. We all know Tonkatsu as a Japanese dish, right? But actually it is a Japanese modification of a European dish, of the schnitzel. They even invented their own panko, you know. And this panko bread is so interesting. They use some sort of electrical current to zap the bread so that it comes out, you know, in those shards of breadcrumbs. Very interesting. If you want your pork to come out nice and crisp and not oily, the trick is to make sure that the oil is really hot. It needs to be above 170, not 130 or 140. All you need is some water. I got 300 ml of water. We put some dashi, shoyu, this is a Japanese soy sauce, some mirin, and sugar. Okay, so the sauce is actually very easy to do. If you don't want to do this, you can of course go to the Japanese grocery shop and pick up some Shoyu, basically a flavored soy sauce they use for soba or whatever. So basically I got my rice ready. Typically it's served in a bowl, but you know, I find it's easier to serve it in a nice deep plate. Just slice up a tonkatsu. Listen, hear that beautiful sound. See, it's actually nicely cooked. We're gonna pour our sauce onto the pan like this. We add some onions to the sauce and then bring it to a boil. Just gonna beat up the egg roughly. You don't want it to be too beaten up. You want to see a bit of white. and a bit of yellow, okay? You want it to be like this. You put the pork in. Once the pork is in, you throw the eggs on top and close it for about a minute or two for the eggs to cook and for the pork to heat up properly. So if you want extra flavor, this is Furikake, which is basically seaweed and sesame seeds. Tonkatsu is really soaked up all that beautiful sauce. Now, this is how I do it. The egg basically holds the pork together, all right? And then you hold it with your hands like this, and you just throw it over the rice. And garnish it with a bit more of the Furikake if you like. And then of course some green onions. And you have yourself a meal fit for a king. Now it's time to eat. Those of you who know how to eat tonkatsu know that this part is the best part. And this part is my daughter's favorite part, so I'm gonna leave it for her. I'm gonna take the lean part because first of all, she loves it so much, and second of all, you know, when you are a bit older, you're looking after your waistline. Look at that, nice and juicy. It's so good. The onions, most importantly the pork, nice and juicy. So I hope you give this recipe a try. You're gonna have maybe a little bit of problem trying to find the kind of pork loin, but it's quite easy if you look online. Go and look specifically for Japanese pork. When you buy pork loin for tonkatsu, they know exactly how to cut it for you. Okay? So until next time, happy cooking.